The Damon Bruce Show continues live from downtown San Francisco on KNBR and streaming live at KNBR.com.
All right, Damon's still coming back from the Super Bowl, so you got me, Ted Ramey, filling in for him today. If you want to call in and talk about the 49ers, obviously a lot to talk about from this game. 415-808-1050. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Ted Ramey Media. We've got Jason calling in from Monterey. He's got some comments on the game. What's going on, Jason?
Hey, Ted. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well, man. It's trying to skew positive today. That's the only way I'll put it.
Well, yeah, a tough loss for the Niner fans. I will tell you, I know you're sitting in for Damon today, and I'm a loyal listener and call in frequently, and so I know you're filling in, but I got to tell you, if there is a slot at some point for a permanent host, you certainly have my vote. You're doing a great job.
Hey, thank you, Jason. I appreciate that a lot. But I can listen to you make my head get bigger all day, but I want to hear your comments on the game.
Sure. What I would say is, that in hindsight, it's always 20/20, and at the end of the season, the end of the Super Bowl, it's always easy to look back and say, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why'd you make that call? Mm-hmm. And I agree completely. So I don't want to be redundant with your take on the last 4 downs of the game and the little lob pass to Crabtree, which made no sense. And it just seemed like it was set up perfectly to do a power sweep. Quarterback, he keeps the ball and just sweeps to the left. Everybody blocks. You're down there, within the 5 yards away from taking the game away from the Ravens. But yep. I would just say, and I can take the comments off air, but I'd like you to comment maybe or expand upon Bill Cowher's comments where he was saying, and I think Shannon Sharp even kind of chimed in, where they were saying, hey, why don't you let Alex come in, for a set or a series and see if he can't, not taking anything away from Kaepernick's athleticism, his ability to use his legs, he's got a great arm, but Alex, there is experience there, and so in the bigger picture, maybe Harbaugh should not have, I don't want to say thrown the baby out with the bathwater and started using Kaepernick at the expense of Alex and totally deflated Alex and inflated Kaepernick before the end of the season, but maybe have balanced the two so that in a situation like that, you've got 2 quarterbacks that are confident that you can interchange depending on
the situation. Yeah, we gotta go for a sports update here, Jason. I appreciate the call. I heard him saying that. It didn't make much sense to me because the 49ers offense is entirely based on rhythm, and I don't think you want to upset that rhythm because, look what happened when they got it rolling finally in the second half. They almost won themselves the Super Bowl. But it's, again, something to get into. Why did that rhythm take so long to get into that rhythm? Here's
The Damon Bruce Show continues live from downtown San Francisco on KNBR and streaming live at KNBR.com.
All right, Damon's still making his way back from the Super Bowl. He might join us a little bit later in the show. Not entirely sure yet. We do have Kyle Bonagura coming up at 12:40, and then we're going to have Kevin Lynch joining us at 1:40. Getting to your phone calls here. If you'd like to join the conversation, 415-808-1050. Before I go any further, there's Ray Lewis on the television screen here, and I will say I have mad respect for Ray Lewis as a player. He's a beast. He gets it done. You watch him. He plays football the right way. But his whole God thing. I'm cool with religion. That's fine by me. But this is constantly, saying what God has in store for him, and it's just so easy to say that when you're winning. I want Ray Lewis to show up at some town that's been devastated by a tornado and start running around saying God is great and God has done this for me, and with God on your side. I don't think it would go over quite as well, and it kind of sounds like he's gloating, especially for a guy who was implicated in, being obstruction of justice in the murder deaths of 2 people, and, there's kind of a lot of speculation that he himself might have had something to do with that. I think it's overkill. Again, on the football field, Ray Lewis, I watch him play any day of the week. He's an incredible talent, and we've been lucky to watch a Hall of Famer of his magnitude. But his constant religious stuff, especially, like I said, coming from a guy with the obstruction of justice charge at the very least, comes off a little bit poorly at times. But we're going to go out to the phone lines. We've got Bob in San Jose. He's pissed off at the bad play selection. You're preaching to the choir, Bob. What do you got?
I'm with you on that, man. You said it best, Ted. This was the time to bring they had them winded, man. They had them winded, man. And that was the time, if they're going to ever use the jumbo package, this is the time to bring in the jumbo package and run the ball right down the throat, man. I'm sorry. Zanoga was out. Their best of a run stopper was out midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity. And you know what I thought for a minute? Maybe they thought that they got down there so quick. It was almost like they had a brain fart. Like, I thought maybe they were thinking, God, there's too much time left on the clock. I don't know what to do. And then the low percentage passes. I mean, they were all low percentage passes.
Exactly. The thing that you just mentioned of getting time off the clock, well, if you're going to get time off the clock, then use your power running game. That's what Roman and Harbaugh are known for. And you've got Frank Gore, who's, all of a sudden as that game went on, his legs were fresh and he was making all the other Ravens look tired. And the 49ers offensive line was getting better as the game went on because, and I said it last week when I was in for Damon, that 49ers team, they play such physical football as other teams can keep up for a half and they might get out in front of them, but you can only hold back that tide for so long, and then the 49ers' overwhelming physicality takes over the game, and we started to see that happen. I mean, look at what happened in that game. They gave up the kick return to start off the second half, and then they got 2 field goals. They were shutting them down completely on defense because the physicality took its toll, and the same thing was happening on the offense. And why are you going to get to that point and not use that power running game, whether it be with Frank Gore or even something where you just, have a designed scramble or a bootleg to Kaepernick, right?
I thought, you know what, because they were right up there lined up. I thought if they would have ran a quarterback draw, it would have worked perfectly, man, because they were bunched up. He breaks one tackle, he's in the end zone.
No,
I just think, it was just, I don't know what happened there. It was a great comeback. It was a great season. I mean, I'm sad, and that Cowher comment, I'm sorry. If I'm an owner and looking at, hiring Cowher, just comment.
Yeah, no, that makes him, makes him look pretty bad. Yeah, it's
Alex Smith, that was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. But, Bob, we got to go. We got to get to the next caller. I really appreciate the phone call, though. And, bad play calling, man. All right, let's go to Tyler in Monterey. He's talking about the end of the first half. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to get your take on this because, I'm just shocked that Harbaugh really, I felt like he got out-coached. And here at the end of the first half, it was almost like the end of the game. Gore gets down there, and we're all screaming at the TV, take a timeout, take a timeout. There's like 48 seconds. They burn it. They run a play, get no yardage, take a timeout, and there's only like 22 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, that was just, it was a common theme throughout the entire day that the 49ers' sense of timing was off. It was like there was something that wasn't quite locked in from the coaching staff to the play calling to everybody. It just wasn't, it wasn't just at that situation. It was in different points of the game. There was just something that was off about the team. And I know that others have speculated nationwide that maybe Harbaugh and his manic style got into the heads of the 49ers players, whereas John Harbaugh and his cool, calm, collected style helped the Ravens, especially in that first half when everybody's trying to keep their adrenaline in check. And that's what the Super Bowl does. I mean, you see these guys come out like they're shot out of a cannon, even more so than you get in a normal football game. But, yeah, I think that was, it was just, the 49ers were off, and they were still almost able to win that game. But it was just the timing, the entire game. They weren't dialed in correctly. I think that was just one of those instances that reared its head. I appreciate the call, though, Tyler. We're going to go to Al in San Francisco. What's happening, Al? How are we doing today?
Not good. After 45 years, very disappointed. A great effort, a great comeback, not a championship team. Too many problems. And one thing is not mentioned enough, although Larry brought up last night, the defense failed.
The defense,
couldn't get one stop to win the game, and we need to talk about that more. They need to get some secondary help and more pass rush, man.
Yeah,
that team was terrible.
Well, I think you're looking at once Justin Smith got injured, the entire dynamic of the 49ers defense changed because they had a maddening pass rush before. They were able to get in everybody's faces. I mean, Justin Smith, how he didn't get defensive MVP is beyond me, but he's just he changes so much. But I do think in terms of the secondary, I think Culliver I mean, he made the stupid homophobic comments, which is pretty much unacceptable anywhere, especially in the San Francisco Bay Area. And then you have him just get burned left and right in the NFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl. You got to upgrade from him. I mean, how can you bring that guy back? If Flacco, every time he dropped back to pass, it was just like he was sitting back and saying, who is covering? Because that's who I'm going to throw to right now. It looked like there was no other option. And I can't blame him. Culliver, he was terrible on the day. He picked a bad day to have the worst game of his career. And I think part of that was because he came out with the homophobic comments, which brought a crush of attention to him, which he probably wasn't used to. He probably realized he said something stupid, and that's going to affect an athlete's psyche going into something like the Super Bowl. I know we all think like, oh, well, it's stupid that he has to go in the sensitivity training. He has to go in the sensitivity training so he doesn't say anything stupid in the future. It's not just about what he did say and whether or not he has a right as a human being to say it, but obviously that changed something maybe for him going into the game. I mean, we can't say for certain, but yeah, there was a lot of there were some things on the defense that needed to be addressed, and Justin Smith's injury changed the entire dynamic. We got to get to the next caller, Al, but I appreciate your call. We've got Mark in Sacramento. What do you got, Mark?
Hey, you know what? Bottom line is, Harbaugh got out-coached. I mean, why are you not calling a timeout with 4th and goal to go? It's your season. That play is going to determine your whole season.
I agree.
As far as Culver goes, I totally disagree with you. Culver is not thinking about the homophobic comments that he made. These guys don't think that way. They, during a game.
No, I don't think he was thinking about it during the game. I think it maybe affected his preparation or concentration for the game because he wasn't used to that crush of publicity. That can get into a guy's head. No, during the game, I think it was the farthest thing from him, but I think that in the lead-up, he was overwhelmed with what happened based on what he said.
Well, Ray Lewis didn't let it get into his head that they were asking him questions about him getting off on the murder charges, the deer antler spray, and everything else during the week.
Well, Ray Lewis is also a future Hall of Famer who obviously has some sort of incredible mental strength to get him through tough situations. Not everybody is made of that mental fortitude that allows you to block out all distractions. Some athletes are able to do that, and some athletes even thrive off of it. Some athletes crumble under that type of pressure. I mean, there's everybody responds to these things differently. However, if you can avoid these situations at all costs, I would say that's your best bet. I appreciate the call, Mark. We got to get to the next one before we go to break here. And we've got Baltimore Jock calling in from San Jose. What's going on, Baltimore Jock?
Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, like the previous caller, you're doing a great job, man.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
All week, not like the other guys.
No. We can't say that. Damon's great, man. Damon's the man. I'm only trying to.
No, you're good. But I just wanted to say I've been hearing all this crap all week. No one gives credit to the Ravens. Excuses. I'll take my comments on line, but the bottom line is you guys lost the game.
No,
Thank
they
you very
did.
much, Ted.
Hey, thank you, Baltimore Jock, for calling in. The 49ers didn't lose the game. They got outplayed by the Ravens, and I think that John Harbaugh has to be credited with that. He's outcoached his brother both the times that they've met each other in the postseason, and he's got big brother ownage right now. He's making his little brother look like the little brother. We got to take a commercial break. We're coming back with Kyle Bonagura. After that, we'll get back to the phone lines. Again, if you want to get in on this conversation, 415-808-1050, or hit me up at Ted Ramey Media on Twitter.